Yeah, fishing goes forward all the time like any other business. We use different nets, we've got bigger, better boats, technology, better equipment. You know, yeah, it goes forward like any business all the time.
I think Brighton all started from fishing, so yeah, that's what's made the place, that's why people come here in the first place.
Every weekend is packed just for people eating fish and chips.
Recently, the issue of overfishing has become a hot topic globally, and we as students who had very little knowledge of the fishing industry decided to investigate whether this issue is problematic within our local area. We chose to interview 4 people we believed that would have a good insight into the industry on not only a local scale, but to give you an idea of how this problem is being dealt with around the world. Gary Brownrigg, a local fisherman who has been fishing from a young age. Jason Hucklesby, a fishmonger at Brighton and Newhaven Fish Sales. Luigi Agostini, head chef at the Favoloso restaurant. Connor O'Hara, director of Beneath the Surface. We wanted to find out whether the fishing industry within Brighton is still the same one that Brighton was founded upon.
Lots of people from the mainland come to the seafront just for the fish because they know they're going to find it fresh.
I don't know, I don't think people generally think of it as a fishing place. I mean, we're really busy, we sell loads of fish, so obviously, yeah, there's still a demand to it. But I don't think it's the main thing by any means. Most of it's tourism, I think.
According to the Sea Fish Industry Authority, it is estimated that 43% of the UK fish and shellfish is used for human consumption and the remainder is classed as wastage. We wanted to find out how much was truly wasted within Brighton and the surrounding area.
For us, not that much, but many people do have this problem when they have to work with the fresh fish. Like, for example, seafood bars, they got lots of waste, but we don't actually waste much. If the food is not fresh, then it doesn't have any taste, or you cannot do much with it. The fresher the fish is, the better it is for the food. The quality and the flavours just come some.
In terms of here, locally, no, not at all. We don't really have any wastage at all, really. Like in terms of discards and things, everything goes back that's too small, most of it survives. There's a few bits that we'll use for bait to catch more stuff, so no, get very little wastage. Yeah, I mean, in terms of bycatch, locally here, the problem is that you get where they're fishing in deep water, so places like the North Sea and stuff like that, it's really deep water, so when you bring a fish up from that depth, they have a swim bladder, so the swim bladder explodes and that's what kills the fish. So yeah, there's been a big thing lately about discards. Obviously stuff like that, it seems silly to then chuck it back in the sea. Here, because it's shallow, we don't have that problem. Most of the fish survive because there's not the change in pressure. They're still in a good condition when they come up. So if they're undersized, for example, they just put them back in the sea and they'll carry on to live. So yeah, in terms of a local thing, we don't really have any issue with that.
The way we fish, with static gear fishing, we would never ever catch anything like turtles, porpoises, dolphins. Static gear fishing is the most green, the most friendly way you can fish. We don't do any damage to the seabed, we don't catch undersized fish. We are pretty green anyway, to be quite honest.
Are there any other implications within the fishing industry?
I mean, look, sea stuff, they do dredging, things like that. So sand dredging and taking sand off the bottom basically to then use for building and construction and stuff like that, which yeah, causes loads of damage, just against loads of drilling. So yeah, fishing's a tiny impact compared to what some of the stuff they do.
Yeah, myself and my mate there have capsized in a boat and had to be pulled out by helicopters. I've also had 1, 2, 3, 4 friends die at sea. Yeah, fishing is dangerous.
To conclude our findings, we chose to interview our director to provide a greater insight into how our knowledge of this topic has expanded, whilst also summarising our insight into the risks and benefits of the Brighton fishing industry.
Throughout the production of this documentary, I actually found that the cliches that the media presented to us seemed a bit over-exaggerated and unrealistic. And in fact, the perception of humanity that the media portray of us slowly destroying the environment, in fact, isn't the case, because most fishermen are now trying to bring in new methods to prevent the extinction of certain types of fish, like cod. It's apparent that the fishing industry does not only provide fishermen, fishmongers and chefs with a livelihood, but also tourism. It attracts us down to the beach to get fish and chips on a weekend. From the production of the documentary, we have learned to appreciate the hard work and passion that goes into the production of our food. It seems that from the news or whether here is the damage that mankind inflicts upon the sea life. But in fact, when looking beneath the surface, we found that the dangers of overfishing aren't actually as bad as we're told.
Throughout making this documentary, we came to the conclusion that despite there being complications within the fishing industry, Brighton is approaching the situation in a caring, ecological and sustainable way.